Deck, you want to start this thing off right now? I have a
Me?
question for you. Yeah.
Yeah, let's go.
What is the 510 Athlete Summit all about?
Uh, dude. Yeah, that's a good question here. Let me sit up so we're rolling here. What is the 510 Athlete Summit all about? So historically, it had been at Area 47. We had some classroom time to see some new shoes, to give feedback on the current product models, and just hang out and kind of talk amongst athletes in a laid back environment so we could maybe come up with some solutions or fixes or bring problems to the table to make a better shoe. Here in Schladming, I think this week is more about getting the team together and content creation. And we will have another team summit at Adidas headquarters in Nuremberg in November, where we will talk about some other things like making shoes better.
It's pretty cool. Does it seem like something that you would benefit from doing with other sponsors? Like, should more brands do something like that?
Yeah, for sure. I think so. I mean, content is king right now. And when you bring some of the best athletes in the world from multiple different disciplines, from freeride to BMX to downhill. I mean, obviously the downhill racers are all pretty set in their own deal, but being between World Cups. But I think it's really good. You get to talk about things that you normally wouldn't talk about, like Jack Moyer. I was talking to him a bit today, and yeah, I think it's good. I think we
Do
should do more of them.
do any of your other sponsors do anything like that?
No.
Okay. I know
Who's
Scott
the-
does that as well. They have
Oh,
an
really?
athlete summit. Yeah. Never been invited, but maybe one day.
Who do we need to talk to?
Ooh. Yeah. I'll send an email right now as we're podcasting. It seems cool. Like, I'm sure there's versions of what 510 does, but they're also a lot more public about their summit. Like, athletes are always posting stuff. A lot of, people like Tanner and I know what's going on. Who's the coolest non-downhill racer that you've met?
I mean, Colin is pretty cool. He's a BMX dude.
Branya?
And yeah, he's real cool. Brad Sims is here. He's cool. I didn't originally say, hey, I'm going to be at the summit in full capacity due to my limited state, right? I didn't know how much I could ride, if I would be able to ride, if I would even be able to be here and ride down the Schladming track, things like that. So I was just like, hey, I'll pop in, and I've been having dinner with him. And then just jump behind Danny Hart for a follow cam today, do a little content creation. But I wouldn't say that I'm like a part of the summit in full capacity, but they brought all their athletes into Leogang to watch the downhill World Cup and the cross country race, which I thought was pretty cool. Brought some content creators from America. Just overall, I think it was pretty cool to get everybody together and, just get to talk to people. I mean, I wasn't on the full content creation train like they were. I'm mostly testing. But yeah, it's good to jump in and say hello. And I think at the end of the day, like, when you spend time with the people you're sponsored by, you understand what their needs are. You understand how you can create value for them. And also they understand you more as an athlete. I think that, like, the downhill racer now is expected to create content, and not only make the content in which I have the skill to make, but also like direct, produce, and deliver content. And that is pretty wild to me. Like, that's not something I signed up for. I'm not great with a camera. I just like riding my bike and tossing whips and going fast and trying to win on race day. But the modern athlete has evolved because of social media. And I think the line between racer and content creator has gotten blurred. And that is somewhat difficult. That's not me complaining about what I do for my job, but also at the same time, like, it makes for a very busy schedule. So I think it's cool because you get to get closer with the sponsors. And then, you get to tell them what your needs are. They get to tell you what their needs are. And it's not like awkward email situation where like you're uncomfortable kind of talking to this person. They're asking you for things, you're asking from them for things, and I just think you can accomplish more in a situation like this, building that relationship.
For sure. That's what I kind of keep leaning back towards, is the more digital life becomes, the more important just human interaction seems to be. Like just being face to face with people at any capacity seems to hold more weight than maybe even it once did, because I'm in the same boat where it's like I email with brands and individuals at brands constantly, but I almost have never met most of them. And then the people you do meet, and then you start, you get 6 months down the road interacting in over email. You're like, oh, I feel so much closer to this person, or it's a lot easier, smoother relationship to have. What from 510 side do they expect for their athletes? Is there anything that you've kind of taken from these summits or this year's summit to kind of be like, oh, okay, like this is what this brand's focusing on and how I can kind of fit into what they need as one of their athletes?
Yeah, I would like to do a huge good job to 510. I've been a 510 athlete since day one of my career. They're my longest running sponsor and a brand that I really like everyone at. It's truly really cool to be an Adidas 510 athlete. They have quarterly meetings with all the athletes on a call, and that's as simple as like, hey, these are our pillars, these are what we have going on, can you support this? Because together, I mean, I'm a small channel. I think I'm pretty powerful organically within the race market, but I am a small channel when we're comparing myself to some of these athletes that are like
like Brad
close
or
to
somebody.
Yeah, Brad. I mean, Brad's like socially he's huge, and that's his main thing at this point, and that's cool. But like, hey, we put all these channels together, and we can really make an impact on getting visibility for the brand, right? And that's not running a big marketing campaign on an advertisement that somebody's going to watch 15 seconds of and click skip. This is to their core audience, which is pretty cool. And we may talk about things that are happening, things they need, planning for the future. They're just like very connected with the whole team, and they connect the whole team together, which is pretty cool. Okay. Like, I don't know a lot of these guys. Like, for example, Tommy G is here. I don't really know Tommy G, and that's okay. You get to know people a little bit better, and you click with some people. Some of the people I never really talked to at the Athlete Summit just because they're, much different or in a different group, and that will tend to blur over time. Like people come, people go. You meet people you don't, but I just feel super connected within the brand of what's going on, what awareness they need, what they expect from me, what we're trying to produce, how I can make a better shoe, and how they can help me win, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. I have to imagine on their end too, it makes it easier at the end of the year to, if you have to, like, rank your sponsored athletes by, like, they've given you guys all the tools, right? So it's kind of like who's putting in as much effort as we are, which I think there's no gray area of like what the expectations were, what was actually delivered. I think that's nice for both of you guys.
Yeah, for sure. And I like, they had a lot of Bren Dog was here. They were doing like some death grip segment, not like the movie, but like a death grip skit or whatever. And they're, bringing a lot of the free riders in that have like dead with it. Maybe they do Rampage, and this is pretty dead for them at this moment. And that way they can get some, unique content creation out of them. But
yeah,
they're pretty cool with the racing. Like, they understand what my job is. And like, Tani's here and she's like pretty fried after the race week. And she was like, after the crash, and they're like, cool, just, be here and be, I don't think she rode most of the week. And they just understand racing, which is cool because David was not involved in racing when he came into the brand. And I think he's now understanding what it takes to compete at at the highest level, and he seems to really respect that. And it's like, hey, if you're out doing laps, jump behind Danny, run a helmet cam. This is great content. Give it to us, and life is good. Just be here, be present, and I think that's rad. Like that they understand what it takes.
Give us some updates on Danny Hart. You did a lap with them. I'm sure there wasn't much, but like, give us just a snippet.
Dude, I had to tell him, you're gonna have to slow down because I'm gonna get yanked on this helmet cam. Like, we can't. Like, literally, I need you to slow down a little bit so I can stay on your wheel. He is so different than me because he can just ride 10 runs wide open on the limit, ride race pace all the time, and I'm like a dude that can't really ride that fast unless it's a race run, and I'm like, brother. Like, he, I think, more struggles to go fast when it's that time, and I rise during that time, but I can't go that fast during practice, and I'm like, brother, man. do your boy a favor and grab them brakes a couple extra times. But yeah, he was shredding.
That's sick.
Super sick.
Yeah. Hey, he looks good on the old Norco. Whole get up looks good.
Yeah, whole deal, sweet.
Yeah.
I mean,
bummer to not see him in finals this weekend, but still,
yeah,
it happens to the best of us. It turns out.
It seems that it is a thing that happens in downhill racing now.
I'm talking about Leogang. That is what we're here for, I think. B-Practice Podcast. We got to do the post-race shows. We got to talk about Leogang.
When are the Desert Storm boots coming back?
Oh, that's a fair 5'10" question.
Don't have an answer to this.
Once the military contracts come back around.
Oh, they're coming.
Man, Lucas Cowan had those, and I had to have them. I remember buying them full pop at a bike shop, and I'd been riding Vans before. Going from Vans to high top 5'10s, horrible, because it was just so much stiffer. Couldn't feel my pedal.
Dude,
I was
they
like,
also
people
took a
wearing
year to
these?
break in.
What's it? Yeah,
I think this is before my time.
This is well before. This was. I mean, I was late to it, and this was like.
Go watch some Kevin Ayala videos and Mikey Silvestri from like 2010 to 2012.
Yeah, they helped sell a lot of those.
I don't know what. I didn't know what a downhill bike was then.
Just picture hiking boots and make them sand colored. Nobody you can't wear them with how tight pants are these days. So you have to tuck them into the boot.
Yeah. You need the LBZ pants for these.
For sure, you need a zipper,
or just like combat pants with like the drawstrings at the bottom.
Yeah, exactly. It's not a good look. It's okay that they're not back.
Can we talk about all the kids in the literally 22-inch ankle opening riding or like jeans riding downhill now?
Dude, the Jinkos and their chains.
Dude, it's back hard. They're like tucking them into their sock. I'm like, who are you?
It's the Y2K style. It's very in right now.
Yeah,
it's
all the kids that never saw it growing up. They think it's like so cool. It's like, dude, you weren't there for it, brother.
Everybody born in 2007 to 2010.
You're bootleg, brother. You're a bootleg version of our childhood with no cell phones. We were wild.
Yeah.
Wild out there. Wild in the streets.
You do whatever you wanted.
No cameras about how tight gear is getting. The other end of that is, people in bike parks and freeride kids are just going the entire opposite direction. Yeah. No chains though, so they don't have to worry about their shit getting tangled up.
It's true. That's what Just chain wallets. Only chain you're gonna have is the one attached to your wallet.
Yeah. I gotta tether that bad boy down. Oh my god.
Those credit cards falling out.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you know why you need a wallet. You got Apple Pay.
Dude,
especially when you're riding. You know what? I'm going to jump ahead real quick. Hold on.
No, I'm going to jump ahead. This is a real problem. I keep losing my wallet over here because I don't ever have to use it. Like,
what do you mean this is a real problem? You've been losing your wallet since we knew you.
Stop. I fixed this. We've talked about this. But everything over here is tapped, like Apple Pay everywhere. You don't even need your wallet. You want to know how to lose your wallet? Don't use it for like 6 days. That thing's gone.
Use it or
There's a
lose it,
saying
brother.
about that. Yeah.
Europe is so ahead in this. It may be the only thing it's ahead in.
I think
but
it's just Tennessee that's behind.
I'm just about to say, what are you talking about?
Watch it. Watch it.
I mean, I can remember like the last road bike ride I did with my wallet. If I have my phone, I can do everything I need.
Yeah.
You know, you can tap to pay
Sometimes I
everything.
go to pay cash and they don't accept cash, and I'm like,
I paid a parking meter on Friday with Apple Pay in downtown.
Yeah, but it's different over here. Everything. You don't ever need the credit card.
You don't need that here either. It's called California. I don't know if you know how things work, but usually from Europe, it skips the East Coast, it hits the West Coast, and then about 10 years later, you guys get it.
or it goes West Coast straight to Europe.
That also is true. Yeah. It's a direct line
Yeah.
between here and London.
All right.
One stop in New York.
Yes.
You've dogged me enough.
Okay.
Move on.
I was going to jump ahead to a question I had, but we'll come back to it. Leogang, let's talk about it. Let's just go straight to you, Dak. Best news of the weekend. You're back racing. You didn't make the cut, but you were damn close. Just take us through your weekend. It seemed like from like the posts you put up, the overall vibes were very high and didn't really matter how the results went.
Yeah, I think it was really special to see how involved in not, oh my God, I fit in. Woo. It's like how a part of the community I am now. How many people that, I have a lot of respect for had really nice things to say, stopped me and gave me a hug, or like the people I was like, it's so nice to see you just back riding down the track. And I haven't seen myself ride since the injury, right? So I was like seeing the clips and I was like, oh, wow. I still kind of look like myself, maybe a little stiffer or like a little late or a little bit rushed into some sections, but still myself, The
bars
so
are
that
still
was
high.
nice. No, just like just the swagger, So that's swagger on me.
I agree. Yeah.
Which was pretty cool. I didn't ride like a 2x4. It wasn't super stiff, and that was nice. So a lot of people had a lot of nice things to say. I almost jumped ahead to like the results and this and that, but like in my head, it was like, if I'm being honest, like I overachieved my expectation, and then it was almost a letdown because I was like, oh, how cool would it have been to like come back with such limited bike time and limited preparation and being like pretty behind on all things downhill racing, bike, that kind of thing, and still put it in the final. That would have been pretty tough. And even like when I came in Q2 into the finish corral, like I was pretty pumped because Q1 was a mess, dude. If I posted that GoPro, you might as well just get a trip to the circus because it was like lions and tigers and bears. Oh my! I like went off the track like 3 times. I was riding on the top of berms, like literally rode up the top of a berm like it was like a balance beam, and then squared off the next corner and just ran into one of those big stupid pads. And I was like, this is ridiculous. Clipped the table on the motorway, got bounced, and I was like, this is bad. This is really bad.
Were
I was
you
like,
nervous?
yeah.
Okay.
Nervous and out of control, dude. Was fighting for my life. I was just come up from one wave and was getting pounded by the next one. It was hard. It was really hard. And then I came down in Q2 and just took a deep breath, rode a bit calmer, linked things together. Maybe not as fast in some sections, but put like a quality rundown, and then back. Everybody's like, "Oh, straight to final. You're gonna go to finals with your first run back." And I'm like, let's not get ahead of ourselves here. Which, for a minute there, I thought I was gonna, and then I quickly got the wind was pulled out of my sails by 10 riders just going zoom, 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 zoom.
Seen that one before.
Yeah, it was like they just kept like. Pretty soon it was like 4th, 5th, 6th, and then it was like 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, like in a row, and I was like, damn, they're really fast. But I drug the brake into the motorway, so I know where I gave away that 1.1 seconds, and that's just me being a bit insecure, like not really afraid to crash, not really understanding the grip levels, and just more my brain being in a bit of a defense I don't know, realm, I guess you could call it. Like my brain is not like kill, it's more like run at the moment. So it's yeah, it was good. I was really happy with it though.
Yeah. What was the hardest part of the track for you? The most difficult or challenging?
First stupid off camber.
That
It
looked hard.
Always has been, always will be trash.
It looked like it got better by race day this year, but
yeah, just like getting the flow up top and like.
That's what I was gonna say. It looks tough to ride, but it looks harder that it's like the first thing you come into when you're like the most amped up and trying not to override it.
Yeah,
I think Jackson put like 2 seconds into me from the second tunnel to the first stumps, and it's like 3 blue corners. So how he does that, I don't really know.
He ripped out of that left-hander into the through the tunnel, the left-hand tunnel.
We'll get to it. We'll get to his splits. Yeah. He did some witchcraft in the second sector.
Your motorway, it looked like on both your runs.
Bro, I was sitting down. I was sitting down. I had no legs to even pump. Your boy was out of shape, sitting down, sucking wind on the seat, bro, like a sail. Like I needed a break.
Oh,
so yeah, it's safe to say motorway wasn't it, especially when I drug the old brake it out straight into it. The Q1, it was so trash. I had to like roll the kicker on top of the table like a girl.
Hey man,
fighting words, careful.
Ollie Clark didn't hit the
dude, what?
It's true.
Whoa. That was honestly gangster.
Yeah. Could have been you.
Stop.
Putting it into finals.
Watch
Rep
it.
City.
Yeah.
You know you got it in you.
You gotta let the ego go. You know, sometimes you gotta just not hit the big dog jumps.
Yeah.
Dude. That was impressive.
Speaking of that motorway, it's long. It's always been long. They got to get you from A to B at Leogang, get you to the lower bit of the track. They added some like weak ass rollers this year. Can we just throw some big ass jumps? Like I know there's like the first 2, which seem like poorly placed. Like like exactly. Like maybe get rid of the first wood kicker, get something that generates some speed, leave the second one. You go through the tunnel, you hit the right, and they got like the new rhythm section. Why don't we get like an actual rhythm that's like gnarly, not like sketchy, but like take some technical ability to like maybe yank for something,
like a BMX rhythm or like a supercross rhythm?
I would take either or just a really big jump.
Like those rollers were not it.
They didn't really add much at all. And then after like the table that they made bigger, which seemed like a positive change, you have that next little, guess you call it a step down, kind of off the road dealio where everybody was dying, and then they like lowered the lip. But like the next rhythms are just so boring for like a 37 second long section of track. Like let's get some jumps in downhill racing. Like if we're gonna strain things out, let's put you in the air for some of that time. You know, get those air miles up.
I'm here for this. Right? I could have really had a break if I was in the air.
See, you could have pulled the tear off.
Them rollers were wearing me out.
Yeah, especially with your setup, you're just cycling through your whole like all your stroke. You know. Yeah, everybody looks so sick on a bike right now. That's like keeps being my main takeaway. Is in every category, people look better on a bike than they ever have. Like, no offense, G, but we don't got a lot of G Athertons out there anymore. Like, people look good and are fast. You know, throw some jumps in there. Like we saw some dirty whips on the finish line jump in race runs. I mean, even Jackson was like pretty sideways. Let's get some jumps. You know, where are the jumps? That's my question, I guess. Asking for a friend.
The jumps, they just left them in the bike park, not the woods that they tape off.
Oh, like at the bottom, you mean, or what?
There's like the jump trail if you go out like way far over there. Have you ever ridden that? Yeah, they left them over there. Yeah, where the cows.
It also is like, yeah, I don't know. I'm like, this is going to lead into talking about tracks right now. This isn't exactly what I want to talk about, but we've raced Leogang for decades, it seems. I don't actually know how long. It's probably almost been, it's got to be like 15, 14. Yeah, it's been a long time. And the layout for the last 8 maybe has been very similar, minus the lower woods. Lower woods is like 5 years in now, which I didn't even realize. But I think like the upper bit where it's bike parky, like they don't do anything. They don't add anything. Like it literally stays the same. They move poles, which is cool, but I'm like, dude, like putting those rollers in, I'm like, okay, you guys tried to do something. Why don't we go up top and like really change something up? Or
I mean,
like,
the biggest change there
I don't know.
was from, was it 2012 to 2013 when they chopped down the woods, now stump section.
Yeah.
That
It didn't
used to be
run,
woods.
but it ran roughly
It ran
in the
through
same
there.
area.
Yeah, but they just chopped it down. So like,
And then what,
lines-
was it 2020 Worlds is when the lower woods fully changed?
Yeah, that moved. It shifted. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is,
It went
was
two
a
wall
significant.
rides,
Yeah.
and then you go in and now you do like the left. You don't do the one that Dak went over the top
We don't
of.
do, we don't do Dax wall ride.
Watch
But
it. No, we only do Nina's.
we'll get to we'll get to all rides also. But yeah, I mean, that's one complaint, that just why aren't we like changing more? Not maybe just taping it differently, but actually changing the track. But then probably the biggest thing I want to talk about this weekend, because it was a heated debate. Luckily, we didn't have any drama. We had limited drama. People stayed between the poles. Nobody was breaking wands and staying behind the wand. But
The hand of God.
but so the times are really tight. This is my notes, but they're always tight at Leogang. Downhill racing is always won by small margins, though, and riders are separated by smaller margins than ever. Like everybody is very fast right now, but everybody's talking about like the tracks are too straight. They're getting too simple. The racing's getting dangerous. It's also getting, you call it, I guess, competitive, but maybe just too tight. But like, I guess, are tracks too fast and too straight? Should there be more tech, tight, slow sections? Would that even lead to more separation in race times? Are tracks too similar from year to year? Or is this just the state of racing we're in right now because people are so fast and the field is so deep?
I think the field's just so deep right now because of the positioning of the teams with riders carrying the points this year. So riders carried the points from last year, so they dictate like where the teams settled, as in being a UCI world team. And so next year, the teams carry the points, not the riders. So now the teams have the upper hand, and the teams can actually decide if they, like Specialized. Specialized only needs 4 riders. They only need 3 riders, but then they picked up a junior girl. And so they still UCI elite team with 3 riders. And next year, you could have a lot more UCI elite teams with only 3 riders or 4 riders. And I think it's going to be likely we see a lot of teams cut down on how many people they have. Like Canyon Collective has, I think, 6 or 7 riders.
Like across all categories.
Yeah. Commensal has upwards of 8. Muck-off. I think it's like 7 or 8, something like that. 2 juniors, 4.
2 juniors,
4.
3 elite men.
4, Dylan Maples, Amory, Loris.
I think that's it.
And then
So
Miriam.
So that's 6, but still
6. Yeah, 6. So like a lot of teams have a lot of people, right? So next year when the teams carry the points, they're going to see a massive, like a lot of teams not having as many people basically. Because, they're going to figure out like, hey, these people percentage wise, like they didn't make the finals and they actually weren't contributing to the team, and it's costing us this much money. So next year, I think it's going to be, even Mondraker has a lot of people right now. But yeah, like you're going to see a lot of teams with less riders next year.
I think the counter to that is maybe there's teams will take risk on people. I doubt they would, but maybe they would. They carry the points. They could be like, I'm going to take a swing at fucking so-and-so being fast this year. I think that, I don't know, I go through like the top 30 from this weekend. All those names, they're damn fast. So it's like, I think going back to like the way tracks are and stuff, like I feel like we're going to see the same names in the mix every week. If we're just looking at elite men's, like there's,
But what do we call
there's
the
like
mix now? Because I feel like the mix is like
in the top 30 in finals.
Okay.
Like there's clearly, I would say 5 to 8 positions that get shuffled every round because there's a bunch of people outside the top 30 that are fast that didn't make it. But like all of that stuff, that to me is all fine. That's just competition, and it's crazy. That's where we're at. Maybe that's a product of Q1 and Q2, which I don't necessarily think is bad. Like I think the system in place right now to get the cream to rise to the top for finals is working, and it does allow for like a little bit of excitement, not always knowing who will actually be in that. Like an example being Sam Gale this past weekend, going through in Q1, which was insane. I think it was his first ever elite final. And like the counter being Danny Hart not making finals this weekend. It's just like a little bit of a roll of the dice. I think that's all on the competition side, but like I think a lot of people are, I don't know, trying to like correlate the tracks and the simplicity of them to maybe racing being more dangerous or racing becoming tighter and all those things. But like first, I don't think tight racing is bad. I think that you have to be realistic and realize that Leogang's always provided tight racing because it is a very simple track. Like the most differential there has been when it's wet and the lower woods is a factor. But you go to somewhere like Mont-Saint-Anne always has bigger gaps in people. However, it's still tight racing. Like I think Spomer posted something where the top 5 at Mont-Saint-Anne last year was within a second and a half or 2 seconds, and that's over a much longer track with more variables. Like I think the competition is going to make things tighter. I don't really buy that throwing bus stops, techie sections, slower sections will make for this, like, I don't know what people want to get out of it. Like, are they trying to get more competitive racing? Because right now, if you go by time, we have the most competitive racing ever. I think that if you add in sustained technical sections with line choice, you will get riders that are more creative. And for me, it's like carrying momentum. So if you throw, right now, it's easy to carry momentum because Leogang is an example, and Lunenville for that matter, we're like pretty straightforward. You like rally the main line with confidence, you carry that momentum, you're going to probably go fast. If you have a little bit of a bobble and your momentum drops, you're dropping in the ranks, where About a Soul might be somewhere where if there's some line options and you're able to like decipher what line will give you the most benefit and then actually carry that momentum through multiple sections, like, but that doesn't mean it's a slow section necessarily. I don't know.
I think the World Cups have still retained their like ethos of it's being able to control speed, not build speed.
And probably that's more so than ever,
yeah, and that's how, like, thinking about World Cups when we were racing and stuff back in our day, back in 2016, 17, 18, that era. It was racing in America was about being able to like generate speed. Racing in Europe is about being able to control that speed and like, braking efficiently and like carrying speed through sections, but like you're never really pedaling too hard. Like, I mean, Dak by example, it's like he can have a really bad first split and then just like go on to be on the podium and just like take a half a crank out of the gate on his 150s and just, where like in America, you're like, like pedaling everywhere.
No, for sure. I just think looking at Leogang and talking about, I mean, there was I think this got sparks. A lot of riders were mentioning how Leogang this year was kind of dangerous feeling, was too fast. And
Lunenville as well.
Yes. I would say Lunenville seemed more dangerous from a viewer just watching it. But like down racing sketchy and everybody's really fast right now. So like I'm not saying, I don't really care if the tracks are straight or faster. I would like to see more sections that give people, don't just highlight people's ability to hold on and plow. I guess is like what I'm thinking of. Like you actually need to have some like crazy technical ability to like carry that speed through it.
What I want to
Not
see in a
just-
downhill track, I'll go on deck.
Not just the ability to risk your life and let off the brakes and somehow make it through a section
Yeah.
while holding yourself up.
But would you say Val di Sole, it's gotten straighter probably with time, and it's dangerous, maybe one of the more dangerous tracks just due to like the ground and rocks and all that stuff. But like, it's you still just being able to hold on and go fast isn't going to win there, I guess. Even though it's gone straighter and like simplified, I guess you could almost say it like, I don't know.
I don't know. I would say it still takes some technical ability due to the rocks and the roots and all of the natural obstacles that Val di Sole has. I think it has evolved into more of a modern, more bike park racetrack, but not to the point of Ludenville last week where it just rewarded the ability to just roll your eyes in the back of your head into a berm. And I mean, obviously Jackson's pretty special with what he as his ability to carry momentum on more bike park type terrain. I mean, he's good, he's a good bike rider, but where it's not as much of a game of delicate braking, weight distribution between the wheels, the ability to make quick setups and get into backslope and things that take racecraft, right? I mean, Jackson's a bad example because he's good. He's really good. But where I am maybe better at technical racetracks due to my racecraft rather than the ability to just ride Blue Trail mind-numbingly fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and I like that we have Leogang as the mix up to having Val di Sole or Mont Saint Anne. Like, it's cool that we have these mix up tracks, and I kind of like that we have a track that's like, it's just literally who can go balls to the wall a little bit. Like the Leogang track is pretty simple in a lot of ways. If there was line choice, for sure, I think it would make for better racing. Just from you'd get more opportunity for people to stand out amongst everybody else. Like just watching the race almost isn't that interesting because everybody looks so fat. I mean, Ludenville was a bit of that too, honestly.
Honestly, I could have just watched the woods. Like, just give me their top splits and put me in the woods, and I'm good to go. Like, that's all I want to watch. Jackson
going as fast as he did in that second sector. Granted, we're watching it from like the blimp POV, so you literally can't tell what he's doing. But like, it is hard to pick out what he's doing differently because he doesn't look that much faster than everybody else. But clearly, he was.
I mean, he went through the stumps, and I was like, "Wow, that was really fast." But other than that, it wasn't like.
But there were some other people that did that too, and I was like, "Oh, they're going to be on it," and they'd be a second plus back.
And even like Loic, but Jackson didn't make it up in the stumps. He made it up before, but like Loic looks slow in the woods, and I was like, whoa, he's gonna be back, and then he was up, and I'm like, what? How? Like how?
Yeah, I mean, and
then there's a few people looked incredibly fast in the woods. Like I think Max Hardenstern looked really good in the woods, but at a certain point, also it didn't really matter because the wind had died on the motorway. So like, maybe Benoit Coulange, like he kind of threw it away, tucking his front in the final turn. But like he was the only one in the top 10 that was in touch. So it like didn't really matter at a certain point because of the wind. But going back to the tracks, what I want to see track builders do, I want to see them just build a section that they think that they can't even ride through. And just have a section on track back like the old days of like make it as gnarly as possible and have the riders figure it out. Just a section that may not even look like it's possible to ride through. Someone's gonna end up riding through it.
You might have to pull the brakes to enter.
Exactly.
I do actually like that. That's actually, I mean, counter me kind of saying it's whatever with changing the tracks, but I'm cool with Leogang being the way it is, but I agree. Like we need some tracks
Like,
Leogang's not the track to do that at, but like some other tracks.
you ever
with some
watch
shit
like
that's just
Transcontinental
gnarly.
or something like that, like those old movies, and like some of the sections, like Schweitzer, I think there was
It's
a section at
atrocious.
and stuff like that. That would just like insane. Like,
Yeah.
they could
Dude, I
barely
mean,
ride through it. People were walking. Like, that's what I want. Like,
Yeah. Well, and yeah, I mean, it's so hard not going to the World Cups because I have to imagine like Val di Sole probably has some sections that if we were there in person, we'd be like, this is jacked up, but people ride it like dumb fast, you know?
mhm.
Like the pretty steep bit where like, I think last year they kind of ran you guys up high to your left, a right hand turn around a tree, and it's where like all like those place
Oh
rocks
yeah,
are,
yeah.
and it goes into
And
like the
they,
tight
like,
switchbacks. Yeah, some big
yeah.
hits.
Mhm.
Like, but like
But that was mainly because of the rain.
it was a
feel
little
like
bit of that for
It
sure.
was
And
like,
but like that whole section looks gnar. I mean, I don't I think as we go into rounds like the Latwil and Val di Sole, of course, Lake Placid, because I don't exactly know what that'll look like. There's obviously opportunity to have some steeper, proper tracks to really separate people. And I mean, if we look at the past 2 weekends, both elite men, elite women, Gracie and Jackson more or less won the race in the, call it like technical sections, or like the bits that are in the trees, steeper with turns, you're braking. It's a little bit more technical versus like the rest of the track that, I mean, Linville and Leogang are quite similar. You kind of have a more bike park style to get you to like the actual racetrack in a way. Where Val di Sole, you've got way less of that, and then you're just into it. So it'd be interesting to see if we have like different names actually mixing it up. Maybe not as much in the top 10, but yeah.
I want to counter you saying that he won it in those sections, because I'm just going to say he didn't throw it away in the motorway when he
That's a
had the
good
stronger tailwind, because he wasn't the best in sector 4 or sector 5. He actually only won sector 2.
He wasn't, but he also was only what, 0.4 back on Amory in second. Or sorry, not Amory in second. Loic in second. Yes, he totally won it in sector 2. But I guess that's true. I guess I'm just thinking of Gracie.
But
Gracie
like,
definitely seemed to go quicker towards the bottom.
yeah. So, I mean, all the kind of the people that started further back, I mean, yeah, top 10 were all people outside of the top 10. Like, top 10 in finals were all people that were outside of the top 10 in qualifying, which
This is
is
a weird one
thing.
for times. Looking at the times, I'm like, this is too confusing. Like, there's quite a few people that just were like off the back in finals by a bit, but again, times are stupid tight. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, we have Val di Sole coming next week. I think that a lot of the conversations that happened after Leogang, we won't hear at Val di Sole. And I mean, there's some good mix in like the tracks we have for the year. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that. That's enough track talk, I think. I think tracks are getting straighter. We already knew this, blah, 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 blah. I would just be cooler with them giving tracks more new sections since we go to the same venues every year. I think that alone, separate of what that new section looks like, would create better racing. But the competition's just good. Everybody's fast. Like, I think we have to balance it too with realizing it's been dry these past 2 rounds. Like, that's a huge thing. Like, the last couple years of World Cups have been so much weather, and Luneville and Leogang was dry the entire time, which makes a huge difference because you're not having to like mess with setup. You're literally just building your speed and your setup through the whole week consistently.
I think the most interesting thing to me is to see who is in the top 5, or like who's been consistently in the top 5 in qualifying, or like top 10. And, you know, it's been kind of like Lucas Shaw, Benoit Coulange, like those are like, I don't know who else, but Amory, like Mari. It's been like those kind of 3 that have been consistently top 5 in qualifying. So
yeah, it seems like some people definitely have Q1 figured out, maybe more so than others. I mean, even Jordan Williams has been fast the past 2 weekends. I think Pinky, wasn't he also up there this weekend again?
Yeah, Pinky was 6th.
Yeah, so like, yeah, I don't know. It's feel like there's bigger issues to worry about. I get the whole like safety of things, but there's been complaints about different types of sections throughout the years, whether it's fast, it's slow, it's like I think that like the issues we had this weekend, it sounds like they made a change to like that one lip on the motorway, which is cool to see. Yeah, Roger
had a
and
huge
Nathan Pontbayon both fell on.
Yeah.
Maybe we lead that into freaking wall rides. What's up with somebody crashing on the wall ride every year? It seems like one of the easier things to
Raimundo
ride.
last year. Yeah.
Dude, people just, there's never been a more obvious sign that you need to turn left, but apparently people just keep going straight.
I will say the one of Nina, it made sense because she like hit it. It
Like
was
G'd
like
out.
smacked the lip and then just
Whoop-ha.
got bounced to the bottom and yeet.
Yeah,
FMX
was heavy.
kicker straight out of there.
Yeah.
It makes sense that would happen. But also people are saying, oh yeah, it's so crazy. Everyone's hitting the wall. Right? It's like, yeah, people have been doing that for a long time. Like even when we were racing there, it was easy to jump to the wall. It just didn't make any sense back then.
My
But
biggest fear is getting like a slow leak or something, jumping on
Oh.
the wall and just getting obliterated.
What?
That's the only reason I don't do it in my race runs. I'm afraid to like roll tire.
yeah.
Yeah, that'd be terrible. Yeah, I mean, who knows if it makes up time or doesn't make up time. It looks cool. I still think it looks sick. Like the shots of
Yeah.
Jackson doing it in practice was pretty dirty.
I'm pretty sure I'm the first dude to do it.
Are you? Where's your microphone?
Sorry. Dude, honestly, I'm sitting here and I'm sitting because Dylan Maples is sleeping on the pullout in the living room. And
we need a
Pinky's
little
in the other
cameo.
room. Yeah, we might need to. So I'm like
Yeah.
sitting in bed because it's like 10 o'clock at night right now doing the podcast. And like my lower back and hamstrings are wrecked from riding Schladming. So I'm like wiggling around in the bed because I'm like cramping up over here. I'm like, Frida, get me some salt and some water. I'm going down fast. No, so I set my microphone down while I was wiggling about, trying to loosen up the old low back.
Like Lieutenant Dan over there.
Yeah, dude, I'm down bad. But I think I'm the first person to ever jump into the wall ride. Historically
Back in
speaking.
like 2016 or something.
Yeah, me and Win in like 2017 or something like that. So I would like, I was jumping it last year, and when they had the like wave cut in the top of it, and I like pulled up and almost like landed in the wave over the front wheel over the top, and I was like, I'm done with this. Like, had my scare.
Oh.
I'm good.
Oh man. Yeah.
It is cool looking though on a cell phone.
It is.
So,
Yeah. Yeah, the old pocket Sully looks pretty good.
Yeah. We'll get to
Flip
that.
phone.
Remember when you told me we were doing the podcast, I was like, yeah, in your race run, when your eyes roll into the back of your head on that, which they do. They do. And then you just like put someone pulling a tear off around it, cruising in practice, and I'm like, I'm gonna fight you. Yeah. So I'm rolling into the gate and I hear this bzz, bzz, bzz. I'm like, what's that? And I look down, my phone's in my pocket. I'm like, oh no. It's like literally in a 30-second interval. And I'm like, it's like 25 seconds.
Wait,
and I'm
this
like,
weekend?
well, yeah.
Are you looking at the one note I put about do you race with your phone in your pocket?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That was a
Yeah.
question I had just randomly. I don't really
Yeah.
know why, but I always ride my phone in my pocket. I'm like, I wonder if people race with their phones in their pocket.
Some do. I have the notes pulled up, believe it or not.
That's crazy.
yeah. Aletha had the phone in her pocket. I
I
thought,
did see that.
I think she posted like a photo or so. There was a photo or something somewhere. And I was like, very noticeable, just phone in pocket. And I was like,
Yeah. Now that I think back, I always race with my phone because why would I not? I don't know. Especially in World Cup, it's like I'm not really there with anybody. Like I want my phone at the bottom. You know?
I race
I
with
think
my
I'd-
watch on a lot because I want to know how close I am to my start time. Sometimes I'll take it off and leave it at the top.
yeah,
Yeah,
phone,
put that
just
thing
in
on
case of an
silent mode.
emergency. You never know.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you,
in case an
you
amber
end
alert
up in
goes
a
off
town
mid-run.
over because you just exited the chat and you ride down the fire road instead of riding down the track, and then you're in like a whole town over.
You never know when you might need to call an Uber, pay for
Yeah.
something, Dak, with your wallet on your phone.
Be on your watch too.
Oh. Can I do that with my Garmin? I think I can.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never have.
Mhm.
What else? We're kind of actually going down this list pretty well. Jackson was racing an e-bike because he had a bunch of weight strapped to his downhill bike. I feel like we already know that, but he had over 4 pounds
Oh yeah.
attached to his bike.
It just doesn't
That's wild.
really
That's almost
seem
half
like
his body
that
weight.
much. Yeah, okay. But I think in the past, Troy's run like a 45-pound bike. My bike is heavy. I'm not going to say the number, only because my engineer refuses to. So I'm just going to keep it going.
Oh my gosh. Is it over 40?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Is it over 42?
My dog's got an
Potentially.
F350.
Is it under 45?
Maybe.
Is it heavier than a
I would
Gamix?
say that a 45-pound bike is quite heavy.
Okay.
That's a Gamix.
That
is heavy to me. The Gravy Boat bike was like almost 45.
I think the Norco's got to be up there. Norco looks heavy. I think it was heavy when we weighed bikes at Munson and last year. Well, Greg's at least because he's huge.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, didn't seem to be slowing down old Daniel Hart today. He had it sideways, backwards, every which way in front of me, skidding around. He was roosting me. He'd go through a corner or go on the inside and roost, and then I'd get hit with it. I'm like, dude.
The weight obviously makes sense for carrying speed, but the fact that he's kind of getting into like that SLE bike range or some full-size e-bike range is pretty interesting. You know, there's a lot of benefits to that. Orbea has their detachable or intentional weights you can actually put on the bike now. So it's funny to see. I think they were just using like, what was it? It was like roofing lead or something. I don't know, something European sounding, but they just like strapped it to his bike. And I'm like, you're Santa Cruz. You guys can't just like put some screws in the bottom and like make some custom weight that you screw on, you know, like a bash guard look.
Usually do like 500 grams of lead, like roll lead underneath of their bash guard that like screws in underneath the piece of rubber. And I think a lot of people run 500 like that. But also I don't think Jackson is running any mass dampers, or maybe just one. I'm curious to know if that weight of the mass damper is included in that 1.8 kg. Or
no, the 1.8 is just what's on the bottom of his bike. And I think that's not including having the like rubber, not the rubber, but like the malleable weights in his crank spindle as well. So he has like weights stuffed into his cranks in his bottom bracket, and then also a weight strapped to like just underneath the shock, kind of just above his bottom bracket.
A 500 gram mass damper, 1.8 kilograms of lead, no inserts.
I think this is just something that popped into my head. In motocross, a lot of people run tungsten axles, don't they, to get more weight on the front wheel?
No idea.
I don't know.
This is quite interesting for me. If any of the viewers have any a lead on this, I could be interested in a heavy axle.
Have you guys? Why don't you put your tune mass damper closer to your front axle?
No, we just don't.
But have you thought about it?
Mine's for like damping vibrations that are going into my hands and then to my eyeballs.
Okay. I'm not an expert on any of that stuff, but like just as far as trying to calm the bike down, I suppose, or like
it would
rinse
severely,
out some of that resonance, doing it closer to where the bumps are happening seems like it'd make more sense.
It would severely slow down my fork rebound.
Mm-hmm. But you can make up for it with tuning.
No.
Well, is this
I am at the limit. It won't go any faster.
I took everything out. It won't go any faster.
Jordy, help! Put more air in it. Oh,
yeah. I need to get one of those things. There's a lot of stuff out there that people are always testing for us, but Luca just got some tune mass dampers for us. And but I want to get one of those rim packed ones that goes in your steer tube because it's clean and simple, and I'm curious if it actually works or not. I've heard that their chain device does not work very well at all. So I'm curious how their tune mass damper goes.
I think that one's really light. It would be good for like a trail bike, probably.
Yeah, like actual day-to-day riding. Because I don't want to strap a bunch of weight to my already heavy trail bike,
Yeah, and
Would
up
be good.
high.
Yeah.
Enduro bike or your e-bike. I mean, do people still ride enduro bikes?
I do.
Dude, that's a great question.
Weird.
I've got a 170 mil enduro bike.
I have
Yeah.
no interest.
Yeah, I'm testing a Pivot Firebird right now, which is sick. The bike is really sick, but that is definitely something I've been balancing, trying to articulate to people is like, do you really need this bike?
Are long travel enduro bikes more worthless to the general public than a downhill bike?
In my
Maybe,
personal
actually.
opinion, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think so.
That's actually, I like that. Well said.
Like, I have an SL and it descends. I don't race enduro,
Mhm.
so one, I don't need to ride it.
But enduro racers don't even race enduro bikes right now. So
My SL e-bike descends better than my enduro bike, for sure. 10 out of 10.
yeah.
I will say my enduro bike is really fun to ride, and it also has a lockout, so
Yeah,
that kind of makes up for it. But I would
actually
consider
have an enduro bike.
I would make the case that it's almost like a park bike.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is a tangent that I could definitely go down for a while because I've been stuck in this world the past like week riding this Pivot because I'm like, dude, this thing is so much fun, but
I have an e-bike.
A, for how much it costs, and B, it's not gonna replace my other bikes. It's not the Quiver Killer. It would be an addition. It doesn't provide more fun than my 145, 150 bike does. That I can go ride it like a enduro track on and survive, and it's fine. But yeah, I want a downhill bike for sure.
Yeah. I think the mistake that most companies make is they make their 150, 140, 150 bike with a different suspension platform than their downhill bike and their enduro bike when they should just take the downhill suspension platform and put it into the 150 bike.
Yeah, that'd be cool. But then it probably wouldn't pedal as good or be as light and
Lockout.
For sure. No, I agree.
Flight attendant.
We live in a world of electronic suspension. Doesn't need to pedal good anymore.
Yeah.
Make it rip.
Yeah.
Scott had this figured out a long time ago.
Weird. Crazy.
Yeah. I would agree. It's a reason why a lot of brands aren't really pushing enduro bikes as much, because freaking your trail bike, whatever you want to actually call a trail bike is these days, but they're pretty damn capable. Just throw downhill tires on it, you're fine. Okay. What are we scrolling through here? What else do we want to talk about from this weekend? Anything else that stands out to you guys?
Outside
of my notes.
The Ellie's tune mass damper falling off.
She was still complaining about it today at the top of the list. She's like, I don't have one. Mine fell off. I said, better get your pocketbook out. Like, this is the one place you would really want that because there's braking bumps that look like Supercross whoops.
I like the best World Cup racer to never have won a World Cup.
Yeah, somebody posed that in the forums. I just saw it before we hopped on, so I didn't have any time to think about it, but maybe we think about it and come back after Val Soul and chat about it so we're not just awing and umming about who it might be. Because I feel like there's a bunch of people that I'm like, well, also my like depth of downhill knowledge doesn't go that far back.
I'm gonna go say Brendan Fairclough straight off the rip.
Oh,
that probably is really close.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah,
he's got all these names. He was in it for the overall in 2010 or 2009 or 10, and then did his knee, and it was never the same. Yeah,
let's do some research. We'll come back to it. What if Brendog's it? That'd be funny. Should we just keep moving along? Maxxis make or break section. We've chatted a lot about the track, but shout out to Maxxis for supporting this at Maxxis Bike on Instagram. Go follow them. I didn't rewrite any new ads for this week, unfortunately. I didn't get an email from Maxxis or Burgtec about the ads last week, so I'm assuming they were cool with it. What tires would you have ran this weekend? Dak, or did you run? Sorry, you raced.
Come on.
Yeah,
Ask the guy DHR.
let's go. Already
Just-
knew that.
Yep, needed it. I just needed that, Just
Yeah.
needed that setup. That was really, really, really
Tire
hooking
pressure?
out there.
What do we run? Did you go up for this race?
Correct. Yes. 23, 27. Maybe 28 in the rear.
No
Watch out for
inserts.
that wall ride.
No inserts.
New casing.
Test piloting.
Test pilot.
Yeah,
I
he's a test pilot.
am a test pilot.
I am test pilot.
What is it? I think it says new DH on the side, maybe.
Okay.
Doesn't that?
I want to
what it
get a
says?
set of these.
I think it
Come on.
says it right on the
Mhm.
tire.
Come on, Tanner and I are tire testers.
I know.
We'll fly some new tires. Come on.
What is the? What did you ride before? What was that? You were
Me?
testing? Yeah,
What do you mean before?
like you guys did some tire testing. Where's?
Well,
was
we've
there-
tested
quite a
all
few.
sorts of tires. Yeah.
We've actually tested all the tires.
yeah.
The only ones that matter, Maxxis.
That's true.
Sorry.
Pontes. We tested.
No, we're
the
talking about
radials.
we're talking about Maxxis.
We
tires.
tested the Ascii front. We tested high rollers front and rear. Used
That's kind of
DHRs
it.
as a control.
There's no other tires really. Let's be real.
Yeah.
That on this pivot I've been testing came with some stiff Reynolds wheels and some stiff Conti tires, and I could not come to a stop and be able and still see straight. And so I swapped the front tire and front wheel to a High Roller 3,
Man,
and it's been great. All the ground
been-
feel.
I've been riding Ascii front, Dissector rear, the Scoop. I've been riding the Scoop.
You
in
love
the
that
rear.
dissector.
The Scoop is
Scoop.
pretty sick on some tracks, but
It's
once
sick
you get
for
on
going
hard pack,
fast. It's
once
bad
you
for
get on
slowing
hard
down.
pack, it kind of it gets it's like you look like Tomac out there. The back end's tail walking all over the place, and yeah.
So
Let me tell you, you get a little sand in the dirt. The Scoop is sick.
all your test tires were stockers.
Yes.
Have you guys
high rollers,
tested what we're testing on? Yeah. You got
Not
your
mine.
hands
the
on it?
new downhill casing. That's the high roller one, but not the new. Because there's
We ride
a
with the
new, and
public
then there's the new. Yeah,
But it just says new DH on the side, right?
No, we don't
no,
have
that's
that.
what we're saying. We need some. It's downhill bike season.
Yeah.
My North
I'm
Star
giving-
season pass is coming.
I'm giving you nothing for what you're fishing right now, and you're not getting anything.
Man,
It's all good. I got to hit up Maxxis for some tires for downhill bike testing this summer, and maybe I'll see if we can just somehow weasel out some new stuff. Who knows?
Get
Maybe
that-
it's coming sooner than we all think. Maybe they want to
Yeah.
send us tires soon.
Everybody want to be on that new.
I want to remind everybody that there's a bunch of other tire brands out there, and you can happily go buy them. We're encouraging it. Go try something else because you will come back to Maxxis. I can guarantee it. I've done it. I have no affiliation. I can run whatever the hell I want, and
yeah,
I've tried some stuff.
There was someone that was like, these industry shells or whatever. Just there was a comment about
No,
something.
those are just our fans.
Yeah,
leaving
and I was
comments.
like, man, I have no affiliation over here.
Yeah, most of those tire brands don't really pay
Wheels
money, let me
or
tell you.
tires.
So yeah, they're generous to send us tires, and then I just want to tell people if they should buy shit or not. If it's good, I'll tell you it's good. But
Yeah.
that's why I have no shame in saying that High Roller 3. I just keep coming
Mhm.
back to it. I run those things till they're freaking bald too, by the way, because I feel bad bugging Aaron and Maxxis for tires all the time, but they work. I know Dak over here gets new tires all the time, but I think a nice worn-in sidewall, there's something nostalgic about it.
I'm
You
actually gonna point on that. I only ever race on Maxxis tires between 2 and 4 runs.
That's crazy.
The run I never will race on a tire with more than 4 runs on it.
Here's a thought. What about if it's super wet and you're trying to go for max traction? Would you ever run a tire that you've ridden a little bit more that's just a tad more broken down?
No.
I guess if you're used
I
to what
mean-
you're used to, then stick with it.
I would just go
stick with
down
the
to
freshies.
PSI.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What do you do with these tires? And do you
I mean,
have my address?
I practice on them, but
Okay.
I then they turn into practice tires. But I'm just
Huh.
saying this is I don't usually this is my secret to the sauce. It's just a rule.
Man,
They also end up in the shed and in the container
Dude,
next to his house that is filled with old parts that he will never sell.
I should. Hey,
He
if you,
should sell.
tires are a good sell because they take up a lot of room, and people will spend $20 on used tires all day long.
Yeah.
Wait,
This fall, garage sale.
yeah, you
Tennessee,
should do that.
Clinton, Tennessee.
well, this is why I'm a hoarder, dude. I'm a hoarder. You never know what you could need.
Mhm.
Never know what you could need. No, I when the tires are like halfway done, for years I actually did not get to race on new tires and get free tires. I'm like, man, this one's got some more runs in it. I'll just keep it.
What about back home, like during the off season? Do you run tires for way longer? I'm guessing.
Yeah, I pretty much till they puncture or there's no tread left on them.
Yeah.
I mean, I wear them out. Just because primarily because I'm like not big on changing them.
Yeah, who is?
Yeah,
Why
like
would
this-
you be?
I got another day in this for sure.
Yeah.
Go do half day and then get a puncture. And you're like, ah, no wonder it's got a million runs on this tire.
Well, yeah, quick reminder, Maxxis does make other tires too. Because I got them on my road bike. They're fine. They're good. I like them. So
I got
I need to
some
get some
gravel
freshies.
tires
That's
sitting in my garage.
I got gravel tires on my gravel bike.
I need some bigger ones though. I want the
Yeah.
new news. They did actually come out the new gravel tires
Mm.
back in April, so they're supposed to be really sick. Keegan Swenson, your lifetime Grand Prix 3-time overall winner, runs Maxxis.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, Max's plug is over. We talked about the track enough. I don't think we need to talk about what sectors were important. We can just keep moving on. We'll keep going into racing. This is usually where I have a bathroom break, but I'm gonna push ahead. I'm gonna persevere. Dak's got to go to bed tonight. Junior women, Roses Earl, first World Cup win, third first-time winner in the junior women's field this year, which is cool to see. Kind of surprising, maybe a little bit. I feel like coming this year, I thought Ellie Hulsebosch was kind of win everything, being a second-year junior. Cool to see a lot of competition in that category. Rose is Austrian, right? Is an Austrian?
Yes.
win on
no,
Austrian club?
Swiss. She's Swiss or
I think I'm getting her
Austrian?
mixed up with somebody else. Scratch that. Regardless, no, I have a note saying winning on home soil. Somebody check me in the comments. I think that might be right. But takes over the overall points lead.
She's Austrian.
Sick. First in Q1. Perfect weekend. She looked damn fast in the lower woods, so that's cool to see. Alita Oscar in second, Eliana Hulsebosch in third, Kate Hastings in fourth, which I didn't know that there was
Is
a
she
sister.
related to Jenna?
Yeah, right. She's on a pivot. I'm just
She's on a pivot.
making a
She's
lot of
from New
assumptions,
Zealand.
but
Yeah.
everything points to yes. Do you know Dak? We should know this.
Nope.
Let's just say yes.
Yep.
Cool. Alita in second. That feels like kind of a long time coming for the fast American. 1.3 up the win, so definitely close. Ellie in third. It's a good bounce back after going down Ludenville. Pretty hard. I'm glad she was okay after that one. Second podium this year, second the overall now. I'm sure she's going to get some wins this year. Feels like it's just a matter of time. Same with Alita for that matter. Just going on the list here. Tilly Melton crashed out in qualifying to make the cut, but says she's all good for Battle Soul. Same thing happened to Rosa Marie Jensen of Specialized Gravity Racing. Sounds like her foot ankle injury she got after crashing in Ludenville isn't what actually kept her from qualifying this weekend. She had another issue this weekend. And then Lena Frenner, after getting her first win last weekend, crashed in practice, had to sit out racing, which is always a bummer to see. I don't know if she'll be back for Val Sol. Kind of assuming she will be, having a week off. I have a note that says, go watch her scrub video on Instagram. think I sent it to you guys
Yeah.
on Instagram. That was insane. I was like, holy shit. I watched it like multiple times. Like, this is a sick freaking scrub. Overall, because I forgot to do this after Ludenville. So Rose Earl jumps into the lead with 145 points. Ellie Hulsebosch moves from 4th up to 2nd with 125 points. Lena Frenner drops from 1st to 3rd after not racing, has 110 points. Tilly Melton drops to 4th after also missing with 85 points. And then Bella Birchall jumps from 6th to 5th with 85 points. Aletha is in 6th with 75 points. Glad my voice is back. All right. Anything else you guys want to add? Can I keep cruising?
Cruise
Seems fair.
on.
As always, rad that we have epic junior women racing. It's cool how these junior fields have progressed in the last couple of years. All right, junior men. Ollie Clark, first win for the Kiwi. I didn't realize he was a second-year junior. Like, he raced last year and was super off my radar coming into this season and has been fast this whole year so far.
Yeah,
which is
last year he was. What was he on last year? Was he
rad.
on?
He was on the junior.
Junior. Yeah, that's what he was on.
Yeah.
'Cause I know he wasn't on MS last year.
Correct. Yeah. The I mean, bigger kid, carries a shitload of speed on the motorway, but like had fast lower splits, was really fast all the way down the track. Qualified first as well. I want to say he qualified second in Ludenville and then crashed out. So like, or maybe not. Maybe I'm getting that mixed up.
Yeah,
like
he
you're looking
qualified
at recent
second
rain.
at Ludenville. Yeah,
Okay. Like
and
he's
then crashed
fast
out. Yeah,
all year, which is kind of under my radar, honestly.
yeah, third at Poland.
Super chill in interviews, like man
Yeah.
of very few words, classic Kiwi. But that was really cool to see. It seemed like everybody was really hyped for him. All the Kiwis running out in the finish corral was really cool to see. Max Allred in second, another podium, Mr. Consistent, really close to the win, under a second. His run looked very composed. Like, I feel like out of all the juniors, he's the one this year for me where I'm like, dude, he's going to be so fast in elites. Like his racecraft has come around quite well. Asa, third place, finally clean run. Sounds like he purposely held back to just get a run from top to bottom and to end up on the podium. Still impressive. He's definitely climbing back in the overall after his first 2 rounds. So he's steadily getting better.
He looks like he's not riding like himself in that run. Looked a bit tight.
He looked reserved to me.
Yeah.
And he kind of, his Win TV interview.
Even in like some of the raw stuff that I saw, he looked like he was riding a bit tight.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I honestly didn't watch a whole lot from this weekend outside of racing, but I mean, he has to feel some of the pressure now. Like Ace is such a mellow, nice kid, but there's obviously a lot of eyes and expectation, and not that he's not living up to them, but he's maybe not living up to him like in the way a lot of people expected. And I don't think it really matters, to be honest. Like, he's done a lot in his first year and a half racing, and a podium is a podium. He has splits at every round where you're like, holy shit. Like, he's up there with Jackson, where it's like, it's very surprising. Or it's not surprising, it's impressive, his speed he has.
Oh yeah. I just think like he was more worried about it. You could tell he was more worried about just getting down
for sure
than about having a good run.
You don't want the narrative to always be like, oh yeah, it's the speed, but he keeps crashing, and he hasn't always been that, but he definitely kind of has a little bit at the same time. Like, he's had a lot of crashes, a lot of rounds his whole first year. So it's a good bounce back from last year. No beer flags on track. So moving up. We're moving up. All right, moving down the list. Till Allred in 4th, back-to-back fourths. Still can't beat his brother. He's going to do it one of these rounds. I believe in him. He looked really good. Like, I kind of thought he was going to be further up there.
He had 2 fast splits, fastest splits.
His woods was crazy. Like, super composed, but like aggressive at the same time. I'm calling it. I think he's gonna get a win, maybe like Leger or something. I feel like it's coming. All right, moving down. Tyler Waite in 5th, his worst World Cup result to date, which is insane. But yeah, dude, just continues being up there. Another one where his win surely is coming. I think we've talked about it after one of the first 2 rounds, just about like where would somebody like him win? And he just looks good everywhere. So, I mean, maybe in Val di Sole, he seems like he's got that like kind of pin it to win it, a little bit on the edge mentality. I could see him just pushing past that little bit he needs to and putting it all together. Moving down, Bodie Burke looks like our winner from Lunenville went down in qualifying, barely missed out on finals, which is a bummer to see, but still had some really fast splits, all things considered. Hopefully he's back for Val di Sole, all good. And then shout out to Lucas Ador in 7th, one of his best results yet for the American on Frameworks. I think his best result was 6th at Leogang last year, so clearly he goes well there. Okay, look at the overall. Max is in 1st with 155 points. Tyler Waite is on the 2nd with 135 points. Hill is in 3rd with 108 points. And it gets pretty tight here. We got Ollie Clark in 4th with 105. Ace up behind there with 102 points. So snug. The junior classes are snug just because the points aren't distributed quite as much, it seems. All right, moving down. We haven't really talked about the women too much up to this point. We've been talking about the track, but Gracie, 2nd in a row, 2nd World Cup win, double wins for Canada, 2 rounds in a row. Feels extra special, I feel like, at Leogang with what Stevie did, and I think it was 2013, wrapping up the overall. Definitely a little bit of talk about just like what Stevie did for Canadian racing, and I don't think there's been a lag. I think that like Gracie and Jackson were literally like children when Stevie was doing that, so it's just taking them literally the years to grow up and be there. But there's no doubt that had an effect on just seeing a Canadian do it, and then all these, then we're young racers, now we're still young, but like kind of in the prime of their career, knowing they can do it themselves. So that was sick. Her run was fast, obviously. She won, but a little loose at points. Like you could see there was time left in her run. Not the tidiest in some of it, which is impressive. Okay, Anna Newkirk in 2nd. Another podium. I got some notes here just about like, it seems like maybe she doesn't believe doesn't actually believe she is where she is the last couple rounds. Like when she's gone podiums, maybe there's been like a weather asterisk next to it or whatever it might be. And this is the first one where I'm like, that was just a straight up 2nd. Like she straight up beat Valley in 3rd, plus everybody below her. And it's cool to see that there's still racers that can build over the years into like their prime. Like it takes everybody different time to become the racer they are. I mean, Dak, you're obviously an example of that too. Like you've been racing for a bunch of years, and the last couple you've really come into form. So
yeah, I really think I think G. Atherton said this a while back, but it takes like 7 years to become a World Cup pro, like to be a real athlete in the sport. And a lot of riders have done it in less, but I think that's a good average.
Yeah, man, it was sweet. And I'm just hyped for like, obviously she's American, so I think it's rad for all the up and coming like women in the US racing.
Real long time since an American woman has been at the top of the sport. Jill,
yeah, totally. But then also just for riding for Frameworks, Nico's team, like very kind of counter all of like the bigger teams and everything going on. Like, yeah, just the whole thing is sick. It's like one of the cooler, with like the union being gone, I feel like the Frameworks team has filled some of that vibe a little bit, or it's not the same, but yeah, it's something I'm stoked on at World Cups right now. All right, Valley in 3rd. The champ goes down in Leogang after, I think she won the past 4 years, actually. I think I had said 2 before, but I think when she was in junior, she was winning. She always wins there. And yeah, the, maybe a little bit of pressure off of her now, finally not having to like show up at home and just, do the damn thing. Still on the podium, still in the mix, steady start to the year. Maybe not the Valley we're used to seeing, but we got 10 rounds this year. I think she's fully in the mix.
Yeah, I think this is one of the first years that the majority of the field is healthy, like full on
Mhm.
healthy. So we've
It's true.
had like Tawny and Miriam out, and then Marine was out,
Cammy.
and yeah, Cammy was out. So this is
Yep.
like one of those first years with everyone actually healthy.
Yeah, it's a really good point. Yeah, I know. And Gracie coming on the form.
Mhm.
Like last year, she wasn't in the mix. Anna, for that matter.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, it's pretty crazy to see those two just make their mark like in the top 5 as top girls. And that I wouldn't say that was something that was like really. I mean, Anna was fast last year. She had like moments of brilliance, but she wasn't considered a top girl.
Yeah.
totally. Moving on the list, Marine Cabrew in 4th. Best result of the season on the New Canyon team. Would have been on the podium if this was last year. Bittersweet. But 1Q2. Curious if that helps the confidence. I would assume it does. At least you win something, before you go into finals. Yeah, she's been kind of a sleeper this year a little bit. Like, I feel like she's always fast towards the end of the year. So maybe as we get into like Leger, Mont Saint Anne, those sort of places.
I think the
It's here.
steeper tracks too.
Yeah, like the new venue with 12. I wonder how she'll go there.
Yeah.
Just blew it. 5th. Best result this year. Good to see her back up there. Excited to see how she goes next weekend, because also last year's where I think she was like 1st and 2nd in Q1, Q2, and then like fell and broke her hand the morning of finals, which was a bummer. I feel like that can go either way when you go back to a place like that where that's happened to you. You're like, I know I'm fast. I also got to like overcome what happened here last year. So, yeah, man, that Cube team going pretty well. They're kind of like a sleeper, one of those sleeper European teams to me.
Doing well this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking that too. I was like, did they change the bike too? The bike looks like got updated.
Little
Like a
bike
little-
change, I think. And
Nothing crazy,
their
though.
engineer is really good over there.
Yeah.
Okay.
They got one of those crazy floating brake apparatuses hanging down. Little
That
curb
team
scraper.
has little to zero media presence outside of Europe. Like outside of Germany, I'm gonna say. Like,
Yeah, I don't know if cubes are sold in the US. I could be totally off, but like I don't know if they are or not. It's definitely a European brand.
I don't know, but I don't see anything about them.
Dude, that's how like the Scott team is to me too. Like at World Cups at least. Like it's just silence from whatever's going on in their weekend.
Yeah, I mean they post about it on like Scott channels, but not it's not like specialized or Trek that gets the media attention from like all channels.
I don't know. Is what it
It's
is.
interesting.
I don't know, man.
No say. Hard saying, not knowing. All right, some final notes for elite women. Harriet Harnden in 8th. Good to see her in finals with no runners on course. It's an upgrade for her. Tawny in 6th. Worst result this year. Still not bad. She almost seemed like she's kind of relieved to not be in the leader's jersey. Like moving on, like I think coming out the first round, winning sets a pretty high precedent. And so to realize the year's long, maybe not have the eyes full spotlight on you. And like she was okay with that. Miriam did not qualify. Sounds like she was sick or got sick traveling to Leogang and then crashed in Q1. And that took her out of trying to go for it again in Q2. So hopefully she's back for Val d'Isole. I think she's gone decently well there in the past. So, all right, overall, great season first now with 645 points. Tawny drops to 2nd with 630. Valley holds on to 3rd with 624 points. Well, I have a note that says closes the gap to 1st. She's closer than she was going into this round. Anna remains in 4th with 592 points, and then Cami remains in 5th with 405 points.
Dang. 1 through 4 is really tight.
It is. That it is, yeah. What is it? Top 3 is 140 points. Now it's 21 points, which is quite the mix-up. All righty. Elite men. Jackson 1st, Bruni 2nd, Henry Kiefer 3rd, Lockie Stevens McNabb in 4th, and Lori Greenland in 5th. We talked a lot about Jackson. I don't know if there's too much else to say besides he barely got Loic, 0.059. Nothing in it. as Rob would say. But sick to see Loic bounce back after his bad weekend. Ludenville, probably the most stoked for Henry Kiefer, Lockie, and Lori. Like they've all kind of had their battles this year in different ways. I feel like it just goes to show like the mix up of who could do well on any given weekend, you know, like Lori having a shit start to the year and then to just come out and get what would have been a podium last year. It's got to be, I'm hopeful for him that trends into positive things in the next couple rounds. It sounds like he was just struggling to get back in the groove, have the good vibes, actually put together a good run. Same with Henry, putting Ludenville behind him, putting Umbrella Gate behind him. Actually made it at the start gate, able to see what he's capable of. That was cool to see. And then same thing with Lockie, bouncing back after missing Ludenville and crashing out in Poland. So, yeah, I have a note right after that that's like Amory, Loris, Jordan Williams, Lucas Shaw, Pinky. They all had fast quality runs, and they all went slow in finals, which maybe it was the wind. Maybe there was some – I don't really know. It's just – it is – they all were top 10, and they all filled like 13th to 16th or somewhere in there.
One thing you guys haven't and one thing that maybe this is a bigger debate than we really want to add in right here, but considering we're going through results, the racing format has changed. So I did my normal build over the course of the weekend, and I really didn't even realize this until attending the event, and I don't think you guys have actually thought about it either. Now they've removed almost 2 hours from practice, I think, at least an hour. So where we used to have, I think it was 5 hours the first day, there's now 4 hours or maybe a bit more. So it's a bit more of a rush to get up to speed. And we used to have an hour and a half on qualifying morning, and now we only have an hour. So it's a big race to get up to speed. And I think the riders that are doing Q2 are getting another building block run in their weekend to help, or on a forced timed run to help build speed for the final. Because the pace in Q2 was faster than the pace in Q1. And I think it's actually easier to qualify in Q1 than it is in Q2 at the moment. Just due to, we see riders like Pinky, Sam Gale. Yes. I mean, obviously Amari, but the younger riders like Jordan Williams, Jackson, they're all going through in Q1, where the old riders that build speed into the race day are now a little bit slower and not getting into Q2.
Do you think that's partially some of those older riders that were always protected before, just not realizing how hard they need to push and qualify Q1?
How fast they need to push early? Because like in back in my day, I used to just kind of cruise through time training, and like sometimes I would do it top 20, move on with the day done, just get a full run under my belt. But now these dudes are literally racing for time training. And you do your run, kind of look at the track in the morning on qualifying morning, then you do one run and you're straight into Q1. Like you don't actually get to like do like a 70, 80, 90% run. And this caught me off guard so much. Like my run would have been a top 10 semi from last year, and I didn't even qualify for the final.
I wonder if that adds more danger to racing than the track layout,
100%. And Rory Cunningham told me this, and he's like, dude, we're not seeing in Q1, Q2 and finals more crashes. I'm like, yeah, you're seeing all he's seeing all the practice crashes because everybody's going so fast before they have a chance to learn the track and know where they're going. So they're having to force speed and then having huge crashes.
Yeah. I think, and if we look at it from the last few weekends, most of the privateers and stuff, they've all qualified out of Q1. It's like the wild cards come out of Q1. So what we had talked about at the beginning of the year of like, when we were like, oh, just blow off Q1, send it in Q2. I think it's the opposite. Just send your life in Q1 and then hope you make it through, because Q2 has been filled with like the factory riders who are more consistent.
And now we have 15 factory riders there that don't want to be out of the final. And now we're all throwing down race runs.
Yeah. I mean, for sure, Q2, I think is going to be intense no matter who's a part of it, because it's your last opportunity. One thought I did have, kind of different to all this, is just like when we were going to World Cups, it would have been cool if it was Q1, Q2, because at least you would get 2 runs.
I thought about that too. Yes, when I was watching it, I was like, man, like it would have been cool to at least get 2 runs, like you're guaranteed 2 runs.
And this is the same thing too. These dudes got 2 chances, so they're like, fuck it, I'll just send it. Like I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna wing it and try to get in.
Yeah, which I think is good to have, like the 2 runs for the people that are even trying to get into it. Yeah. Like there's a kid, I don't even know who Alden Pate is, but 61st from America. But like, him and some others, it's like it's good to have the 2 opportunities, get 2 race runs in Europe.
Yeah, for sure.
But
I will say one counter to what you were saying a minute ago, Dak, is that like more experienced racers taking longer to get up speed. I feel like there's also the argument that somewhere like Leogang, where we've raced there forever on the exact same layout, people like a Troy, who's been there a bunch of times, should be able to get up to speed on like his second lap. It's like the same track. So maybe it's not to say what you're, I think there's like maybe validity to all those things, and it's interesting how it all kind of shakes out, you know?
Yeah, but I think it's the build to that one run over the course of the weekend, right? It's not that we're not up to speed onto the track. It's the needing to bring intensity earlier in the weekend than what we needed to do before. Because, right, like I would get through, be 20th place guy in qualifying, get through in 12th, 13th in semi, and then arrive at that one run I can only do one time in the magic of downhill for the final. Where now it's like get up to speed and then repeat that run all weekend.
Yeah, it seemed like the other hard part is people's setups and being wildly different from past weekends. Like Lockie in the on Vital, what what's his name, Lawler put together. Him talking about how off his setup was and how much stiffer they had to make it throughout the weekend, and it was finally good by race morning.
Yeah, I mean, shorter practice, I feel like is always a recipe for some issues, depending on how it comes out, you know, whether it's people pushing too hard in practice and getting hurt, or Q2 being more competitive, or I don't know. I think in general, it still feels like we're building towards a much better race day than we had the past 2 years with semifinals. And yeah, it'll be interesting each round, or really like end of the year, looking back and seeing kind of how people, when they went fast, and if there is any sort of like parallels you can draw from round to round. But how'd we end up here? Where'd we go from here?
Sorry.
Okay.
Just some insight from the race weekend from your boy.
That's cool to hear. Yeah, I didn't realize that it had been shifted around like that, you know? All right. Let's see. I'm going to skim through some final notes here. Ronan in 6th, back on pace. Dude looks buck. I'm not going to lie. He looks sketchy to me. Not the most polished runs, but he fucking made it happen. So I can't knock him too hard.
I think he's got all the intensity.
Yeah.
But
he just kind of sprays it everywhere.
It was funny because you know how he puts on his Conor McGregor Mad Dog, like you can't hurt me kind of thing, like his Goggins, and he like says how that crash at Hardline, like it was nothing,
what
and all
crash?
this stuff. Yeah, exactly. In his winter review, he was like, maybe it did slow me down. Yeah. In his winter review, he was like, maybe it did slow me down a little bit.
As long as he keeps doing Bryceland impressions, I'll be happy because they are gold.
Yeah, there's no doubt he's pushing super hard right now. Like he's been on like 14 runs a day program. Like
I love
every
it. Though,
one of them race run. Like he's a mad dog for sure. Like he was so locked in the pit, there was no talking to him. He was just in the zone, you know. So yeah, he was.
I think he needs to slow down to speed up and work on his setup a little bit more. My outsider perspective.
Still got
funny.
sense, though.
It was like, gosh, yeah. I know. What can I say? Like, dude,
work smarter, not harder.
He's funny. He's like, shocks bobbing in the corners again. we need to spring up. Shocks bobbing.
I love that term, bobbing.
Shocks bobbing. He's funny. Like he's where I'm like stressing about a click. He's just like, nah, this air dampener ain't working. Put the other one back in. Put more air in it.
It's definitely the vibe I get.
I feel like he's
funny
one of those
kid.
dudes that doesn't even hit the same line every run.
No. Oh, he's making up as he goes for sure.
Yeah.
A little bit. Like
Mhm.
if something bounces him a couple inches one way, that's where he lives now.
He was not super happy about the top after the weekend, though. He's like, he said, I think he's funny because he's like he'll the air dampener. We talk about the air spring, he's like a little funny, and he's like, bro, I was all over the shop up there.
Oh, that's good.
Such a funny kid, man. He's so funny. Like where he doesn't really care about some things. He's like he was like I think he really does care about the quality of his runs and like trying to improve them, and not wanting to be like squirrely. Like he wants to be like a top guy and be solid. So it's like kind of the first time, like as a older racer, I've like seen him and he was like, man, like happy with the result, but kind of upset with the run. He was like, man, I was just kind of a little looser than you wanted to be, which is like kind of different. Like it's interesting you say that with the win interview because it's like different than the persona he's like starting. It seems like he's really maturing as a rider and different from the persona he like last year he's like I'm winning or I'm in the heli, and it's
He's
a different persona for sure.
He's developing a little bit more humility.
Yeah, for sure.
And
he's got some good one-liners though. I can't remember any of them, but some of his one-liners about like checkers or wreckers are pretty good.
Yeah, he's pretty funny with that.
Yeah. Finn off the back. Sounds like he's just building, like off-season injury, new bike, not enough time on the bike. His win TV interview was really good and telling. And dude, Finn is just good at talking. Like I could listen to him talk about his bike setup and his racecraft like all day long. Very methodical. Very in tune.
If anyone hasn't watched what Lawler put together from the weekend, everybody's done from the past 2 weekends. Those are really good. Where he follows like a handful of riders basically through qualies and then gets them from quali to like final, and kind of like tells the story of just a handful of people's weekends. It's really good. Yeah. And they go more in depth. Go watch that. Finn's in that, and he talks about how hard it is and how stoked he was just to make it into finals after the weekend he was having.
Yeah, which is crazy to hear.
Yeah,
and then
the weekend prior, it was Jackson talking about how hard it was to make it into finals and that he could never believe that he would be in that position, which is crazy to hear because then he made it. Because then he won. He was sitting at the top, wondering how he was going to make it to finals. It might have been Poland, actually.
I think that was Poland, yeah.
Yeah,
but
then next weekend he wins the race, and then the following weekend he wins the race after, wins the other race, and Jackson, he won the race, but he still qualified 14th. Like it wasn't like he was, dominating the weekend.
I don't know if many people had Jackson on the top of the list to win in Leogang. Honestly, I definitely didn't. We didn't talk about him winning at all last week. So, yeah. Like we've been talking a lot this week. It's roll the dice in the whole field, really. Like to know who's going to go fast when, who's building, who's got the setup right in the short amount of time you got. Like, and then racing's tighter than ever. I mean, it's great as a fan, honestly, I think. So
we say that. Yeah. And then there's Colby in 8th, just solid, sneaky every weekend in there.
Yeah, he was in 8th, but he also went through Q2.
Also true.
Yeah.
Which is
I think like your Lucas Shaw, your Thibaut Deprella, those are like your consistent 12th to 5th. And then there's like the shockers, like we already talked about with Loris, Jordan Williams, Amory, like expecting them to be higher and they weren't. Let's just scroll down here real quick. Mr. Aaron Gwynn back in finals though, back-to-back 19th places. Is he racing Valdesol?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because they're back-to-back Valdesol and get the one after it. Is it back-to-back?
He won't be at Valdesol.
Is he not going to be commentating at Valdesol? That's the next question. There's a lot of people on our forums right now really upset about the commentary, by the way.
Really?
but I don't think we need to go there. Yeah, they're not back to back. I'm looking at my schedule.
Oh no, it's
and-
Valdes It's the
And then
EDR.
Last
That's
Will.
back.
Probably should look up if I'm even saying that slightly right. Dak, how are people
Will.
saying that venue?
The Twill.
Okay. Like
Those are the back-to-back
TWIL.
ones.
Heard
Yeah,
the
'cause
track
Aaron's-
sick for the record. Steep,
Yeah,
steep.
Aaron's only doing he's only doing the back-to-back ones, huh?
I'm mad. I want my boy there. Racing's better when he's at him.
That's
would
Dak's
agree.
emotional support dog.
Who am I gonna hang out with? Be Lone Dog and it's gonna be
Yeah.
me and Pink.
Who are you doing laps with this past weekend?
Gwyn Enterprises.
Nice.
The whole squad, Gwyn Racing over there. The
Uh,
big dogs. Mikey,
big dog.
Gavin, and Gwynny.
Sick.
I'm gonna be back all by my lonesome next week.
Yeah.
All right. We got to close this thing out. We're done with racing. A lot of people did well.
Racing's done.
Congrats, everybody. Let me run through
Good
the
job.
overall.
Mhm.
Loic takes back the overall with 619 points. Jackson jumps in the second with 574 points. Amory drops to third with 524 points. Luca jumps from fifth to fourth with 390 points. Loris drops from third to fifth with 360 points. And then Ocean drops from fourth to sixth with 342 points. Yep, there we are.
Dude,
Burgtec, Labor of Love Award, $200 to Fast Privateer with not factory support. I only got one name on there. That name seems sick to you guys.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cute. Mr. Sam Gale, 24th place, straight out of Q1. First Elite Finals, Privateer effort out of New Zealand. I don't really know much about his program. I see him racing down in NZ, doing cool things, but kind of seemed like he had like a bit of a gap after being a junior. Didn't heard much about him, but I think he's supported by like Specialized New Zealand, and yeah, man, I'll hit him up. Give him his $200. I actually hit up everybody else after the first two rounds, by the way, yesterday. So, what up?
Our boy. Oh man, what's his name? Win Project.
Dom?
Dom Platt. I was riding behind him today. I don't know. I was drawing a blank. He said that he lost a key to Wynn's accommodation, and it was like $200 for the new key, and he was so bummed. And then the next day, you message him, and it's like, "Yo, dude, we got $200 for you," and he was like, "Yo." So money going to good use to help a struggling privateer.
Oh, I feel bad. It's just going to pay for a damn key, but you
Yeah,
know
but-
what?
Saved
No
by the
loss.
bell, baby. No,
Yeah.
no harm, no foul. Because he said he was so mad about it. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
he
he was
actually said he'd
super happy.
rode with you. Yeah. So, yeah,
he was
I
hooking
was-
today.
yeah, I was stoked to hit him up, and Anton Roche was the other one.
Yes.
So cool. I'll hit up Mr. Sam, get him his $200, and Val de Sol. How you feeling, Dak? Thoughts, feedbacks,
Terrified.
concerns?
Well, there's
Mostly
no
concerns.
motorway. There's no motorway to have a smoke break on.
Yeah, what are you talking about? There's that one spot where who was it?
The
Tebow
bridge. Yeah.
historically like dropped the hands. Yeah,
I
little
will be
twinkle
sitting-
fingers.
I will be sitting down on the bridge. That's for sure.
I
Yeah,
love
that's
sitting out
you
on
know.
race runs. It's a flag.
And then this step down. I think I'm gonna be holding on for dear life, but I'm really excited. I love Val de Sol. I'm excited to be racing it. Maybe not the best track for me to come back to with my current state, but man, yeah.
You don't get on
Val de
pump
Sol. No, I don't. But I'm gonna get leg pump. This little quad. This quad is small, dude. It gets pumped up quick.
Hear me out. Maybe for the upper berms, you ride opposite foot forward, just to not burn yourself out with your dominant foot forward.
Dang.
Dang, science.
Yeah.
That's
Or you
thinking.
finally get the pegs installed
Dude, the pegs.
With an
Dream.
Exonic love seat, so you can sit down in corners.
Put some 135 cranks on so I could.
Come on. Why not?
Oh, dude. Yeah, just let that dog eat, you know? Let that dog eat.
Yeah.
I'm excited. Val de Sol. It'll be sweet. Some runs at Schladming. I did 2 days, did some testing, got the bike in a better place. And then take the day off, do a couple more days. So should be able to get 4 or 5 days on the bike, and then go swing off to Black Snake.
I'm looking forward to it. Last year was second, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
You got beat up by
Yeah.
Amory, who put together an insane run. So.
Nearly won the whole deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good vibes.
It's gonna be interesting because I've had so many good memories. Good to be there in general.
We usually do race predictions, but I might just close this thing out. I kind of got to run. I feel like we've been chatting for a minute.
Yeah.
Unless you guys want to lay some down real quick. I'm going Jess Blewett, Amory.
Oh, I like that.
And I'll go Asa. I'll go Asa, and then I'll go Ellie. Hulsebosch.
Till Allren.
Yes.
And the Rosa, the one that won this weekend.
Zerl.
Yeah.
Not
There's two of them. Yeah. And then I'm gonna go Miriam and Loic.
I like that. I don't know if Loic's done too well there though, has he?
Yeah, you're pushing that one.
But that would be
he also said he wasn't good at Fort William last year. Won Fort William.
That's true. The man lies.
He's kind of changing. He's having a little bit of a renaissance right now.
Well, he's a father to be. So, yeah. Did you miss that?
I missed that.
Yeah. He's gonna be a dad.
Oh yeah.
It's crazy.
His girlfriend's cool.
She seems cool. I haven't met her.
Yeah. You met her at the 100% party, right?
Oh, maybe I did, like really briefly.
Yeah.
Like I just
said hi. Moto, I think.
Mm-hmm. He seems happy.
WMX. Yeah, I think he was a little nervous about it for a minute, but I think he's coming around to it.
Yeah, okay. I bet. All right, Decky, you got
big change. Loris Valley.
Juniors.
We'll root for our boy Asa. I want Till Allren's gonna win. That's a good Till track. He's like light, poppy. I think he'll do pretty well there. He's pretty tech too. So Till and Ellie Hulsebosch. See if she can do it.
I like it. Maybe next weekend when we talk about it, we'll actually remember what we said. All right. I think that's it. Everybody go play fantasy next week for Battle Soul if you haven't been. Includes you, Dak.
You can also bet on it or something, right?
I think we might have just pulled that back. Don't quote me on it.
I was like, I don't know how the legality on this whole thing. But...
I'm not allowed to, so I actually didn't really know. I didn't really pay attention.
Okay.
Like I legally, I don't think could because I'm attached to it. Yeah. Like I know too much.
You can change the results. You can go back in and change your team.
I've never bet on anything in my life, so.
Dang.
Yep.
I made a little bit of money at the casino last weekend.
What's that?
I made $66 at the casino last weekend.
Oh, there we go.
It's the only time I've ever won in Reno. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Thank you, Maxxis and Burgtec, for supporting the V-Practice podcast. And we'll see everybody after Battle Soul. Peace.
Peace.